Hi, second grade math friends. It's Miss Healy. I am going to be teaching you a new strategy today that you might be familiar with, but you might not be. It's called the CUBES strategy. C-U-B-E-S. Anytime you come up to a word problem, any kind of word problem, you can use this strategy. It's a great one to keep for the years to come. So let me tell you what they stand for. C stands for circle the numbers. So anytime you read a word problem, you want to make sure that you circle all of the numbers so they're standing out to you. U stands for underline the question. So you need to find the place in the word problem that's asking a question. What are you trying to find out? And underline it. The B stands for box, or put a box around keywords or phrases. So those would be any words that would tell you whether you should add or subtract or eventually multiply and divide. And so those are words that are going to be important and tell you what to do. E, we don't use very often yet, but it's something that you should be thinking about, especially as you get into third, fourth, and fifth grade. The E stands for eliminate the extra information. Sometimes you come across a word problem and you don't need something in there. They've just thrown a random fact in there that's not needed, and you can get rid of it by just crossing it out. And then S stands for solve the problem. But I'm going to actually add one more thing to that. You need to show your work and solve the problem. So I'm going to have you all help me today with these two word problems, and we are going to use the CUBES strategy to do it. So we're going to start with the C for each problem and go all the way through to the S together. So watch me do the first one, and then you can help me do the second one. All right. So the first thing you need to do when you come across a word problem is read it. And sometimes you have to read it more than once, and that's okay. The problem says, Jane picked 354 peaches last weekend. Now, 37 peaches have rotted. How many peaches does she have left? So we've come up to a word problem. We've read it out loud. Now we're going to go through our cubes. And I know I'm kind of blocking the way a little bit, but C stands for circle the numbers. So the first thing I'm going to do is go through each line, and anytime I come across a number, I'm going to circle it. So 354 gets a circle, 37 gets a circle. All right. Up next, U, I'm going to underline the question. So usually the question is towards the end, and you can find it by looking for the question mark. So this one says, how many peaches does she have left? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I need to underline that question so it stands out to me. B stands for box the keywords or phrases. So those are going to be any words that tell you whether you should be adding or subtracting, multiplying or dividing. A lot of times you see those words in the question, not always, but you might find them in the question. And the word that stands out to me is the word left. So I'm going to put a box around that. And I know that when I see the word left, it usually means subtraction. So I'm going to put I just like to put a little subtraction sign in my head once I remember what that keyword is. Put it there so I don't forget. Then I'm going to go through E. E is eliminate the extra information. There is no extra information in this problem, so we can just skip that step. The last step is show your work and solve, S. So what we need to do now is take the numbers that we've circled, and we need to take the question and figure out the difference between the 354 peaches that she picked. Imagine that, that's a lot of peaches. 37 of them no longer are able to be eaten because they're rotten. And I need to find out how many peaches are actually left over. So I'm going to set up a little subtraction problem so that I can show my work. I'm going to set up a subtraction problem over here. 354 minus 37. have to be careful because this is a 2-digit problem here with a 3-digit number up here. So I want to make sure that my ones and my ones are lined up, and my tens and my tens are lined up, and my hundreds, there's not hundreds in this number, 37, so there should be nothing underneath it. Then I'm going to go through the process of solving it just like we've been learning. So more on the floor, go next door. I'm going to borrow a 10 so that 5 turns into a 4. And then I'm going to make this, bring those 10 back to my 4, and I have 14. Now I can solve 14 minus 7. 14 minus 7 is 7. 4 minus 3, I can do that. More on the top, no need to stop. So 4 minus 3 is 1. And 3 minus nothing is 3. So our answer here is 317 peaches that Jane has left over that she can still eat. All right, now I'm going to have you help me. And I want you to see, you don't have this problem on your paper in front of you, but I'm going to pause after each part and guess if you see if you can guess what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do on this problem. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go through the whole cubes process again. So the first thing we need to do is read the question. Darius collected 487 Pokemon cards. His dad gave him 192 more for his birthday. How many does he have now? Okay, so what am I going to do first? If you were up here with me at the board, what would you do? Well, I'm guessing that you're probably whispering to yourself right now that you would have circled the numbers 487 and 192 because those are the two numbers that I see in the problem. Then, next, think about what you would do. Next step is to underline the question. So remember, I'm always, let's see if you would have underlined the same thing. You're always going to think towards the end, and usually by that question mark, and back it on up. So the question is, how many does he have now? Okay, what would you do next if you were up here? If you said B, box the keywords, you're right. What word might you box? Let's see if you guessed the same thing. If you said that you were going to put a box around the word more, you're right. And some people might even say around the word now, because he had a certain number, he got some more. Now how many does he have? And that's going to tell me that I should be adding or subtracting. What do you think? Say it out loud now. If you said adding, you're right. So I'm going to put a little plus mark there, a little plus sign there to help me just remember so it's in my head. And then the last thing, well, I'm going to check to see, do I need to get rid of any extra information? No, there's nothing extra. S, I'm going to show my work and solve. And so I'm going to give you a minute. I want you to pause the video. You know your numbers are 487 and 192. You know that we are adding to try to find how many total Pokemon cards he has now. And you're going to set up a problem and solve that work. It's 487 and 192. So pause the video, set up a problem and solve, and then meet me back here. All right, so if you tried this problem, it probably looked something like this. Hopefully, oh, I might have to move this up a bit for you all. 487 plus 192. I'm going to start in the ones place always. 7 plus 2 is 9. No need to regroup there. Then 8 plus 9 is 17. I do need to regroup. 7 stays here. That extra 1, which is a 10, gets carried over top And then 1 plus 1 plus 4 is 6. So your answer is 679 Pokemon cards. Darius has quite a few Pokemon cards. All right, friends, you did such a great job working with me today with this new strategy called cubes. When you get finished with this lesson, you can head over to Seesaw and do your independent assignment, which is continuing with a few more word problems. And you're going to use the same cubes strategy to do that. So circling, underlining, boxing, and eliminating if you need to, and showing your work and solving your problem. And that's in Seesaw. So you can go get started on that. At the very end, as soon as I finish talking, I will leave this chart, or a chart that looks like this, to tell you what all the CUBES stands for. So if you forget, you can come back to the end of this video to see what you need to do. Good job today, friends.